What do loss and live music have in common? If you said money, not this time. Both are a very quick reminder of what truly matters most to us in the human experience. Love and joy. That's all it boils down to. Welcome to Life Talks with Lex, a podcast where we keep it real, raw, and relevant as we explore conscious conversations about the human experience and all of life's conditions. I'm your host, Coach Lex, a self-development and leadership empowerment coach whose mission and passion is to bring more love, joy, peace, and empowerment to individuals on a real level. I have a heavy background in human services, psychology, mental health, behavioral health care, human design, astrology, and much more. I am so glad that you're here and hope you subscribe and stick with me through this season and beyond to be a part of the Conscious Collective. Hey, good people, welcome back. Happy Tuesday. So glad to be with you. I gotta tell you, I asked my subconscious mind, the powers that be, the universe, to help me with this episode. You would think because I've started recording these bi-weekly, I have it all mapped out. And sometimes I do, but not this time. This time I was like stuck between two ideas, like where do I go? Where can I go? How should I lay out the rest of the season? And sometimes I just know I need to wait for the call. And when the call comes, I need to answer it. And of course, right before I recorded this episode, I got a download because when you ask, you will receive. It wasn't a simple download. It wasn't, hey, this is your topic. It was, hey, this is who you are. These are your values. This is your mission. This is what matters to you. This is why. This is why you created this show. And I was like, okay, all right. I've heard enough. I get it. I can't go there yet. I can't go to this like small, easily digestible, quick hit episode that I had planned out for you guys for this week. It needs to wait. I don't know why it needs to wait, but maybe this is for everyone. Maybe everyone needs to hear what we're going to talk about today. I don't know. And I got to be honest, I had this topic sitting with me before season 2 even began. I knew this topic was going to make its way onto season 2. I didn't know how. I didn't know when. I thought about starting season 2 with this topic. And then I said, who the hell is going to want to hear that shit at the beginning of season 2? If they hear that, they're not listening to the rest of season 2. And fuck that idea, right? Fuck that. Because that's not what my show is about. My show is not about creating poppy, marketable, sponsorable content and blowing it up. Would I love to reach more people and you know, be in this conscious collective space with them? Absolutely. But am I going to compromise and sacrifice the real authentic shit I talk about on this show in order to do that? No way. No way. It's not about reaching everyone. It's about reaching the people that have come here and need to hear what I have to say. It's about us coming together and sharing something. So I put my idea that I had for this week aside, and I said this has to come first. So today we're talking about grief and loss, love, joy, and life, and how good life is when you're living it. You still with me? I hope so. Now, I don't know about you, but this year in particular has been incredibly challenging. Not to say there hasn't been any good, but it's been one of those years where it's one thing after another. It's trying, it's difficult, it's challenging. I feel that for the collective. And when we're in challenge, when we're in difficulty, when we're in chaos, we're like, when is this going to end? What's got to give? What's going on? Why is this happening to me? We can't comprehend, we can't understand. But I think in those moments, the universe is trying to reach us with the simplest yet most profound message we will ever receive. But it's really hard to see the forest through the trees in that moment. It's really hard to decode the message in the chaos. And I think it's intentional. I think the universe is like, I need to bring you so much chaos, so much difficulty, so much challenge that it beats you up and it wears you down and it strips you of nothing so that you can understand everything. That is some pretty deep shit. I think as human beings, we refuse to see the signs clearly. We're always asking for them. Universe, God, whoever, please show me a sign. Please guide me. But we refuse to see them. We refuse to believe in them. We refuse to listen to our intuition, our inner knowing. We don't trust it. We don't follow the unseen forces that are at work in our lives, in our existence, because we are so oversaturated with information in our world, in our society, about who we should be, who we could be, what we should do, what we shouldn't do, what we should eat, what we shouldn't eat, where we should go, where we shouldn't go, who we should look to be with, who we shouldn't be with, what jobs we should hold, what jobs shouldn't we hold. We are so lost in the bullshit, the distraction, the division. And I kind of touched on that last episode. Just the external identifying factors that we rely on to tell us who we are and what our lives should look like and how we should be. As if there was like some kind of handbook. Last time I checked, there's not. The only things we really know to be true about our existence in the human form is that we are here and that someday we will be gone. But we refuse to trust simple. We refuse to trust human. We refuse to trust when the universe is showing us a sign that is so simple. The message is so simple. We're like, there must be more to it. There must be more than this. There has to be. This can't be it. Inherently, we know. We know, right? We all have an intuition. We all have an inner knowing, and we've either shut it down completely or we've shut it down just enough so that when it does speak up, we're like, I hear you, but I don't know if I can trust that. I can't trust myself anymore because for so long I've been listening to these unwritten rules about who society tells me I should and could be, that I don't even trust who I am. I don't trust what you're trying to tell me. But the universe is always there. It's always trying to communicate with us in some capacity. And when it sends us the signs and it sends us the downloads and we don't, or we look away, it's not going to stop trying to get our attention. It's just going to do so in a way that has to hold more magnitude. It's got to shake us up. It's got to be tragic. It has to be earth-shattering to the point where we're like, okay, I'm left with nothing. I'm left with nothing now. So now I can't look anywhere else. I have to see it. I have to feel it. I have to believe it. We get to a place where the truth, the message becomes undeniable and we have to accept it. But I'm guilty of this too. I'm going to tell you a funny story about how the universe was trying to reach me and I wasn't having it. I was unavailable. I wasn't trusting, bottom line, I wasn't trusting. And it made sure the message was received. And this all happened this year. Now, per usual, because this is my life, there is a lot of idiosyncrasies and synchronicities in this story. And I am going to do my best to tell it in the most succinct way possible. But just stick with me. So the beginning of this year, I told myself if I was going to spend money on one concert, like really spend money, it was going to be on Billy Joel tickets. I love Billy Joel. I've always loved Billy Joel since I've been 7 years old. And I have had Billy Joel live on my bucket list for at least the last 10 years. So I told myself this year, I'm going to treat myself. The tickets are expensive. I ask for them every year. For Christmas, for my birthday, I never get them. They sell out every month that he plays. It's very difficult to get your hands on tickets. But if I'm going to see one show this year, it's going to be that one. So I didn't plan on what show I was going to see. I didn't really try to buy tickets. It just so happened that in February or March, the opportunity was presented to me serendipitously. Someone I knew had an extra ticket. It was offered to me, and that was the moment, right? I asked, I received, I said, okay, I'm going to go. Little did I know the show that I agreed to go to was the 100th show of the residency at Madison Square Garden. And the residency is coming to an end this year. So it was the 100th show. I found out it was going to be broadcasted. It was going to be recorded and broadcasted on TV. And I was psyched. I was psyched to go. I was pumped up. I'm like, I'm going to cross this off my bucket list. It's going to be incredible. About a week and a half before the show, all this weird shit started happening to me. And, you know, weird shit happens all the time, but sometimes you're actually paying attention and you're like, what the fuck is going on? So it's one of those moments. And I have this number, whether you believe in angel numbers or not, I have this number that tends to follow me around. I just see it everywhere I go. But the week before the show, it was aggressive. I mean, I'm talking 5-6 times a day, easily, just everywhere, not just on the clock, not just out in the world, just absolutely everywhere. And I'm like, okay, seems like the universe is trying to get my attention. It's always trying to get my attention. I get it. But like, I don't know what is different about this time. What is it trying to tell me? What's it trying to show me? Whatever. So then it's a Sunday. It's the Sunday before the show. And I get a text message. I'm sleeping on my couch. I wake up to a text message at 11 something at night from an unknown number. It's not saved in my phone. It's a different area code than where I'm from. And it just says, enjoy your time here. When I read it, I was like, for a split second, I was like, okay, wrong number. And then I was like, that's a weird random message to get at Sunday, 11 something at night. What the fuck? And then I start thinking like ominously, you know, because again, here we are out in the world listening to way too much shit about, you know, stalkers and crime podcasts and all of this stuff. And I'm like, okay, somebody out for my life? Like, does someone know something I don't know? Is someone out to get me? Like, is this a threat? What's going on? So that's filed in the back of my mind. And then, you know, as the days continue, this number 331, it just keeps popping up into my life. Now it's the day of the show. And I'm feeling a little nervous because I haven't been to New York City in a while. It's been 4 years, to be exact, that I haven't been to the city because the world shut down. And when the world shut down during the pandemic and there was absolutely nothing to do, my other half and I were like, let's just drive through New York City and see how empty it is. And we took some photos and then we went home. We never got out of the car. We never did anything like that. So the morning of the show, I'm on one of my social platforms and my memories pop up. And don't you know, the photos from driving through New York City during the pandemic come up from 4 years ago. On the very same day, I'm going back to the city. Weird, very weird. Now I'm like psyching myself out, okay? Because I'm like, wait a second, what are the odds I'm going back on the same day? I didn't plan this. I didn't even plan to go to this show. Now I'm going back 4 years later. Like, what in the matrix is going on? Okay. Now, the numbers, the random text message, all of that shit is filed in the back of my mind, and I really start psyching myself out. I'm like, wait a second, there's going to be a political event in the city tonight. I don't like that. There's going to be multiple presidents there. Like, maybe I shouldn't go. Maybe something bad is going to happen. Maybe that's what the universe has been trying to tell me this whole time. I don't know. I'm driving myself crazy. So I reach out to my really spiritual, mystic, incredibly intuitive friend who I will put in the show notes because she does tarot readings. And if you're into that kind of thing, she's awesome. Her name is Sylvia Pignon. She is incredible. So I reach out to her in my state of panic and I am like, please draw a card for me or tell me what all of this means. Like, the amount of synchronicities, the amount of signs that are coming my way is just it's incomprehensible. So, and the other thing was that my ticket, I found out I was sitting in section 111, row 11. So 11111, seats 5 and 6, 11. So she quells my paranoia. And she's like, I think you received the message, Lex. The message is enjoy your time. Enjoy your time. That's literally what the text message said. She said, enjoy your time there. Maybe you're going to meet someone there. Like, maybe you're just going to have a really great time, an incredible experience. And you're overlooking joy. You're foreboding joy. And I was like, oh God. You're right. Like, you're right. Thank you for that perspective because I was really going down a rabbit hole. And don't get me wrong, the entire night I was still on edge. I was still on guard, looking out for any possible thing that could go wrong in order to be safe. But joy was the message. So simultaneously, while I was looking over my shoulder all night, I really leaned into joy because I wanted to be present for it. And I really thought, okay, this is what the universe is trying to get at. What do I need to know? So I'm there and I am just surrounded by some of the most incredible people ever. Just genuinely nice, authentic people who all came for varying reasons. You know, it's their first show. It was my first show. Some it's their 30th show. And the woman that happened to be sitting right next to me, to my right, was like a Billy Joel show veteran. And her name was Ilene. Ilene and I are now great friends. Ilene is 80 years old. 80. Doesn't look 80. I'll throw a picture on the Conscious Collective community. You could go take a look. Her and I took a selfie together. She does not look 80. But her and I stood up and danced all night long. We exchanged phone numbers. There's 50 years between us. And yet we are best friends. We feel like we are best friends. We had the absolute time of our lives that night. And Ilene, to me, is a constant reminder of what this life is all about. Because one of the first things she said to me is, you know, this is a big year for me. And I just decided I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to do this year. And I was like, I love that. I love that, Ilene. You should. You should. Ilene has such youth. She has such spirit. She has such soul inside of her. It keeps me young. And I just get so lit up talking to her because I'm like, this is what I know at the age I'm at now. This is what I inherently know and don't always want to trust, right? Because society keeps trying to tell me, no, there's more and you could and you should and you know, if you would. But inherently, I know joy and love are the most important things. And it's not about putting on a performance and a show of your life and doing all of these big things to impress the next guy. It's about really leaning into what makes life important. So I met Ilene at this show, and she is a constant reminder of that. She's a constant example of that at 80 years old. Now, the show overall sent me that message because I saw parents and children, couples, varying cultures, genders, whatever, just become one in this stadium. I mean, if you've ever been to Madison Square Garden, you know how large that place is. There was not a person sitting in their seat. We were all up off of our feet, singing, dancing, loving the moment. It brought me to tears. So already I was in this mindset of like, wow, this is what it's about. And I'm reminded of that every time anytime I experience art in a certain form that has the capability to do that, I am reminded of that. But this was an extra special experience, right? Because I did make that connection with a complete and total stranger who I now absolutely love and adore. So I leave the show and I think, this is what it was about. I write about it. I lean into that. No pun intended, but I lean into that. I lean into joy and I'm like, this is what it was all about. Well, that was March 28th. A week and a half later, maybe even less, we very unexpectedly, very suddenly lose our family dog, Freddie. Freddie was a yellow lab. He was 14 and a half years old. He was the sweetest boy you'd ever meet. He had the softest, yellowest ears, and he was very well fed. He was very well taken care of. He was in very good shape, other than a persistent cough that his regular vet misdiagnosed him on. So it was a Tuesday, and we had decided that we were going to take him to a new vet and get a second opinion. It was a Tuesday. I had a coaching call. My plan was to finish up my coaching call and then head over to my mom's to help her get him in the car to take him to the vet. I got off my coaching call and I had all of these missed calls and text messages, and my phone was ringing again. It was my mom. I picked it up. She was sobbing and she said, "He's dead." It was one of those moments where you're in a fugue, you're in a fog, you can't process, you just kind of move. You're just, what? You're not in belief yet. You're not in understanding. You're not in belief of what is going on, what's being said to you. You're just, okay, what's next? So my boyfriend rushed home. He picked me up. He drove me to my mom's, and we went to the back deck, which is where Freddie passed. Freddie died pretty suddenly. He collapsed. He was gasping for air, and my mom was desperately trying to save him. I remember going to the front yard and trying to call pet cremation facilities in the area, and just thanking God that no one answered because I couldn't get out the words. I wasn't ready to say them. It was an incomprehensible moment. It was a terrible day. It was a terrible day, but it was such a beautiful day outside. The weather was perfect. It was gorgeous. The sun was shining. The daffodils were in bloom. Everything about the day was beautiful, except that it was one of the worst days of our lives. And life has a knack for that. It has a knack for juxtaposing pain and pleasure, good and bad, loss and life, love and heartbreak, in order for us to fully digest the magnitude of what's important. And I sat with that. Probably not the first day, because the first day, the first day you just cycle through this unimaginable amount of thought in your brain and emotion in your being. And, that entire first week, I just was going through the motions. It was like life stopped in that moment. Even my calendar, my wall calendar stopped on that day. Like a month later, I was like, wow, I literally stopped April 9th doing things, crossing things off. Like I just wasn't fully present after that because I was just lost in grief. And I kept thinking about the irony between March 28th to April 9th, riding and leaning into so much joy versus being ripped of something that brought me so much love and joy. And I thought about the last holiday that I got to spend with Freddie, and that we all got to spend with Freddie, was Easter, which was 3 days after that concert, March 31st, 331. Maybe it's a coincidence, but I think the universe was trying to reach me, and it didn't just want me to understand the importance of enjoying myself. It wanted me to understand that there was a gift that we are all given in being present, in being in gratitude, in being in love, and being in joy. And that nothing in this human experience is more important than that. So when I sat down to write again, after I had written that reflection a week beforehand of the concert and meeting Ilene, I sat down and I wrote a tribute to Freddie. And really, it wasn't so much a tribute as it was what Freddie left me with, the magnitude that he had in my life. And one of the first things I wrote regarding that magnitude was about love and joy, the expression of the two, and how everything technical and tangible becomes obsolete in the final moment of our lives. Loss reminds us every chance we get to express our love is a gift. And if we're paying close enough attention, we get one every single day. It reminds us to grab the ones that we love in a tight, warm embrace and hold them dear to us for as long as time allows. It lets us know that no matter how much love and joy we feel, express, give, receive, it is never enough once a piece of it leaves us. Because we will always wish there were more. We will always wish we could give one last hug. We could say, I love you one more time. We could hold our loved one close to us one more time. It reminds us that energy, anything that is alive, takes up more space than we can even comprehend. More space than we can comprehend. We don't realize how much space it takes up until it's gone, because then our space feels cold, empty, and deafeningly silent. The world and its sounds and its action, it just seems harsher on our ears. In loss, we become keenly aware of everything we still do have, and simultaneously aware that one day we will lose that too. And it's terrifying because we wonder if that day will come sooner than we expect, and that keeps us up at night. It reminds us that the nature of the human experience is so limited, but souls are infinite. It reminds us that Einstein was onto something about energy neither being created or destroyed, because we still feel the love, joy, and presence of our loved one as strongly as we feel their absence. That just doesn't dissipate. It doesn't leave us. We wake up every day in uncertainty if it will be one of the best or worst days of our lives, and we can never prepare enough for either. We look everywhere for someone or something to blame as if to ease the pain of our loved one's absence, but nothing will make sense enough for us to settle, enough for us to accept the loss. We run through an endless catalog of scenarios that could have maybe changed the outcome or the nature of the loss, but none make the truth, the inevitable, more bearable. We realize how simultaneously terrifying and absolutely incredible it is to be human and alive, to experience the depth of human emotion, thought, and memory, which makes us both smile and cry, often at the same time. We ask ourselves how we will ever recover from the moment of the loss. Everyone assures us it will happen with time, but for us, recovery is incomprehensible. Life without our loved one doesn't seem real. And then time goes on. Life goes on. We love again. We're joyful again. We feel pain. We forget to seize all the moments, but every single day, they are there for us. They are available. And for right now, we are still souls just bound by the body. We are human, and there's nothing like it. All of that was taught to me by a creature with the softest ears, the sweetest eyes, and the yellowest coat, named Freddie. And that gets taught to us through the experience of life at a concert, where we feel so incredibly alive and we realize, God, this moment is so good. It is so good to be with fellow human beings, fellow strangers, and absolutely stand here and relish in this moment. The joy that it brings us is like so important, but we don't yet trust it. We don't yet trust that we can just revel in it. It's like, it's too good to be true. Life has to be hard. It has to be painful. So then we have loss and grief. And it solidifies for us what we inherently knew to be true all along, that there is no more important moment besides standing next to the people we love, loving them so hard, so fully, so authentically, so purely, seizing all of the moments, capturing all of the time, and enjoying all of it to its fullest. There is nothing more important. What could possibly be? It can't be work. It can't be overtime. It can't be money. Because at the end of life, no one says that. No one says, I wish I worked more hours. I wish I had even less time to spend with the people I love. And no one will ever say it, because it's not the most important thing. Love and joy, that's it. Are you joyful? Are you happy? Are you doing things in your life that bring you joy, that bring you happiness? Are you surrounded by people that bring you joy, that are filling you up? What joy do you want to embody? How do you want to enjoy this limited human experience? Are you happy? Not who are you, not what do you do for a living, not where do you go to school, not how much money do you make. Are you happy? And are you loved? Do you have love? Do you feel loved? Are you loving? Are you loving yourself? Are you loving others? Are you loving your fellow human? That is what matters. And I don't want you to forget it. As I'm recording this episode, I'm looking straight out my window and there is a bird dead smack in the center of my view on a telephone wire. Just one single bird. And he's not talking to anyone. I don't know who he's talking to, but he's sitting there and he's squawking up into the sky. And I have to think that is confirmation, if any. Now, if you want to leave this episode and totally denounce all my woo-woo shit, that's fine. It's not for everybody. But as human beings, I know that we share an innate drive and motivation for love and joy. And I know that it holds equal importance for all of us. So if there's one thing that you take from this episode, please let it be that. Please don't forget what a gift you have in front of you every day. The capacity to feel, to see, to understand, to love, to be loved, to experience joy. Do not waste it. Please do not waste it. And if you stuck with me until the very end of this episode, I have so much love and gratitude for you. I don't have to know you. I just love and cherish you for sticking with me, because it's not always fun. It's not always easy to hear, but it is always important. Take a breath. Take a moment. Take a moment of gratitude. I love you. Until next time. If you enjoyed today's episode of Life Talks with Lex, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. To stay current on all the latest from Coach Lex, you can find me on Instagram at Alexis Christie Coaching, or shoot me an email, alexischristiecoaching@gmail.com, with any comments, questions, concerns, or topics you'd like to see explored on the show. I look forward to hearing from all of you, and I look forward to the next conscious conversation.